I want to talk to you about how this administration is using the military. This week, the White House put out a statement that in the range of options to acquire Greenland, utilizing the military is an option. How concerned are you about these threats to Greenland?
Months ago, I was not concerned at all. I thought it was just typical bluster from Donald Trump wanting to show people he's a strong man and he can do what he wants and take what he wants. After seeing what happened in Venezuela and the latest comments, not only by Donald Trump, but people in the administration, and now even some of my colleagues, talking about why Greenland should be under the control of the United States. First of all, Denmark is a member of NATO and an ally of ours. If we have concerns about security in the Arctic, we currently have U.S. service members based in Greenland. One option for us would be to go to Denmark and say, hey, we want to increase our posture on Greenland for security reasons and negotiate some sort of a deal with them to make sure that our national security needs are met, which, by the way, also helps Denmark and Greenland. But for us to threaten them, especially with force, that we're just going to take your stuff, we're going to take your territory. I mean, is that who we've become? That's Russia. I mean, we are not that kind of a nation. This doesn't make any sense. So to answer your question, yeah, right now I'm really concerned. When you listen to Stephen Miller and what he has said about this issue, but now some of my Republican colleagues in the Senate start talking about how, well, sure, why not? Well, I'll tell you why not. We're the United States of America. We follow the rules. We uphold a standard of morality and an ethical code, and we just don't go around and take other territories from other countries or threaten to do that. So
Can you
yeah,
play
like
that?
right now, I am rather concerned about where this is heading.
Can you play the scenario out? Like, what if we do go through with this in the same way that the administration went through with Venezuela? Then what is happening, A, to the military, and B, to our standing in the world?
Well, you're putting members of the military into uncomfortable position, and we'll get into constitutional issues about what power the president has. Certainly the president has the ability at any moment to take action to protect U.S. territory and U.S. citizens and U.S. assets. Does that extend to just seizing territory from an ally? I don't think so. He should come to Congress if he wants to do that, and let's have a vote. Let's see how many of my Republican colleagues are going to vote to allow the president of the United States to use military force against a NATO ally. But I'll tell you what it would mean if we did this. It would mean NATO, which is held, I think it's fair to say, has been a driver of peace in the world since World War II. As an organization, that is done. If the United States takes Greenland by force, so this has huge consequences. And if I doubt the president listens to the Atlantic podcast, but the message I would want to send to him is you are making a huge strategic mistake here that will reverberate in a negative way for the United States of America for decades if you try to take Greenland by force.
And reverberate how? Like, what happens if NATO is done?
Well, taking that kind of action is possibly the justification that the People's Republic of China would need to go in there and say, well, you took Greenland, we're going to take Taiwan. I mean, they make a claim that Taiwan's part of the People's Republic of China. That's their claim, and they think that they need to bring it back into the fold. So if we go and use the military against Denmark and taking their territory of Greenland, I think that's justification that the Chinese would like to have. And how about Russia, by the way, has already attacked Ukraine? What if they say, well, Kazakhstan, that was part of the Soviet Union before, and oh, they also have a lot of oil and mineral, wealth. Why can't we go and take Kazakhstan? So you're creating an environment that puts us strategically in a very, very uncomfortable position, and it will last for decades.
I mean, it sounds like worldwide chaos you're describing. It's more than uncomfortable.
It is. It would probably be the biggest mistake any president has made in the history of this country.